my father, he loved to dance. He had a great sense of humor, and I would consider him the life of the party a lot of times. So I would say one of a cherished moment would be at a wedding that we attended. And during the reception, he had the whole room dancing around him in a circle. And we do have some pictures of that, but definitely that's one of the great memories of him dancing and just being the life of the party and just having a great time.
One of my favorite memories of my father, community service was always a big passion, both of my dad and our mom, and it was a big part of our lives growing up. So I had the opportunity to chaperone a youth work trip. Growing up, my family attended Park Hill United Methodist Church, and my dad was a member of the church up until he passed. And growing up, my sisters and I would go on work trips with the youth group, and my dad started chaperoning them after the three of us were adults. So I had some free time on my hands, so I was a chaperone along with him, and two of my younger cousins who were in high school at the time were on the trip. And we were down in New Orleans, the New Orleans area, doing recovery work for Hurricane Katrina for about a week. And it was just a really awesome time to spend with my dad and actually be doing something that our family is so passionate about, which is community service and giving back. So that's probably one of my favorite memories of him.
My dad was, even though he had a very big job and was well known in the community and did so many things for so many other people, at the end of the day, he was just a tremendous father, husband, and uncle, and family member. So whenever anyone needed anything, at any time, he was always available. Whether that would be helping to prepare for an exam, whether that would be needing help with an application, no matter what it was, he was always available and would do it with a smile. So about within 6 months before he died, last year in 2019, I decided to move. And I asked my parents if they'd be willing to help me clean out my garage. And my dad kind of dropped everything and said, of course, I'll help you. And that for me is one of, it's a very dear memory to me because we spent some quality time together just cleaning out the garage, but it just kind of amplifies what he does, who he was. Because even though he was a federal judge, he had no problem pitching in and helping people with whatever they needed, whether that's cleaning out a garage or whatever. So that to me is a very dear and precious memory that I hold.
Another thing our father loved to do is he loved sports, and he loved all of the Denver teams. And one of the last memories I have with him was the NBA playoffs 2019. And the Nuggets were in a 4 overtime game, and I just happened to be at my parents' house watching the game, and it was late, went to 4 overtimes, and he kept popping in, what's the score now? And we would just kind of laugh, and I would joke with him, and he would go back in his room, and then he'd come back out. And so we always just had so much fun watching sports together. We're a family of 3 daughters, wife, it was just him. So whenever he would watch sports, he loved to come watch us play sports. He would always include us. So sports was definitely something that brought the family together.
I'll also just add with that, because I was the youngest out of the 3 girls, I always felt like, they wanted a boy. So I felt like I was kind of representing that. So when it came to sports, he would always have me out there shooting hoops, because we had a basketball hoop, or throwing football. So he definitely was always just fun. Just come on, let's go play the football, throw the football, let's go shoot hoops. So I could always look over on the sideline and see him over there supporting. One thing that when I think about him, what always comes to mind is how cool, calm, and collected he always was in every situation. So no matter what was going on, he just always had a level-headedness about him. You could always come to him and talk to him about whatever, and he never overreacted. He never really got angry. He just said, okay, let's just deal with it. So, he was such a pleasant person to be around at all times. He was definitely the rock of our family. If anybody had issues, they would go to him, and he you just knew that he was there for everybody. So I just really miss that, having, that rock in our family, and just how he's, again, just able to just be always cool and collected in most every situation.
I don't think that there's anything about our dad that I could say that would really surprise people, because I think that he was genuine with everybody that he met, and he treated everybody the same. He's someone who accomplished so much professionally, and knew so many people and was involved in so many things, but yet you wouldn't know it. He didn't like to brag. He was very humble. He didn't really talk about his accomplishments. He let his actions speak for himself. And if he was talking to the head of a corporation or a Supreme Court justice, he would treat them the same way he would if he was speaking to someone who a law student that he was mentoring, or if he was volunteering at the homeless shelter or a soup kitchen. He would always interact with everyone the same. He always had a smile on his face. He always had a kind word to say. And I think that that's what made him such a unique human being, is that he didn't see what somebody had achieved in life or what they were doing. He just saw the person in front of him, and he always just treated everyone with respect.
So my dad was born in the segregated South, and that had a very big impact on the person who he was. And I think really shaped and guided a lot of the choices that he made in life, and was demonstrated in his passions. And as a kid, I was never interested in law. I became a lawyer after I had already gone to college and actually gone to graduate school. And my dad, I was sort of at a what's next point in my life. And my dad said to me, you should think about going to law school. You would make a tremendous lawyer. You have a mind for it. I can just see you doing great as a lawyer. I'd never before that moment thought about it in my life. And so I ended up working for assistant paralegal, and I decided to go to law school. I went to Howard University School of Law, which also is my dad's alma mater. And my dad really had a passion for increasing diversity and inclusiveness in the legal profession. He was a skilled mentor and teacher to thousands and thousands of Colorado law students. He was such a tremendous mentor for me, no matter what I needed in my legal career, whether it was just advice, reviewing a memo or a brief. My dad was always there. Every time I asked him for something, he was so happy to help me, and he was so encouraging and supportive. And I think the incredible thing about him was that he wasn't only that way for me, his daughter, but he also was that way for thousands and thousands of other people. I think we all, my sisters and I and my mom, were just touched by the number of people whose lives he touched after he passed away so unexpectedly. And just thinking, how did he have time for all this? Because he gave so much to everybody, and he was always so happy to do it. But I think that passion for helping others, no matter who you were all to life, but really having also a passion for increasing diversity and inclusiveness in the legal profession, because out of all the professions, the law is least diverse. And my dad would often speak about how disheartening it was to him that so little had changed from the time that he became a lawyer up until even last year. And I think, I would hope that if anybody remembers anything about my dad and wants to carry on his legacy, that they will work hard to try to increase diversity in the profession. I think it's so important, particularly given the times that we're in, just that he was such a passionate, fearless mentor and leader for so many people, and really a standard bearer when it came to things like diversity and inclusiveness.
Anytime we were at some sort of party or reception, he would be the first person on the dance floor, showing the whole room how to dance and just getting everybody involved. He was very silly. So, he just was a fun person to be around. I remember one time we were in Spain and he didn't know how to speak any Spanish. So he tried to have the dictionary, Spanish dictionary, and he would say the word in English and they wouldn't understand it. So he would just say it louder. And I'm like, Dad, no, they don't understand English. So you saying it louder is not doing anything.
We all probably know, don't sweat the small stuff. And that is what our dad did. He just embraced life. He always had such a positive attitude about things. And anytime, I would go to him if something was bothering me or if I had an issue, and he was really analytical, but at the same time, very compassionate. So helping you to figure out the right solution, being calm and rational about it, but also being that cheerleader and that champion by your side, letting you know that you could handle it, that you could do it, that you could achieve whatever you wanted to do, but also enjoying, the fun parts of life and the good things in life, and really not focusing on the negative, but focusing on the positive and focusing on all the blessings. And he really did live life to the fullest. I don't think, he passed way before his time, but I don't have any regrets on the time that he spent with me, with our family, because we just lived life to the fullest together. And that's something that he taught us, and that's something that I will treasure forever.
So our dad was married to our mom for 48 years. He was such a devoted husband. He loved our mom. They were soulmates, best friends. They did everything together. And I was always impressed by, no matter what, he always lifted our mom up and put her first in everything that he did, which I think was so admirable. His devotion to her, our mom Ida, and just the love and devotion that he showed to her through so many years of marriage. Also, our dad was the father to 3 girls, and he really loved on us and gave us lots of attention, even though he had a very busy career. But I have 2 sons, and I think when he had his grandsons, he was excited because he had 3 girls, and he really devoted a lot of time to them and developed a very close relationship with his grandsons, and would do things like play basketball with them in the driveway. He would take them to deliver the neighborhood newspaper. He would help them with their piano lessons. So he was such a devoted husband, father, grandfather. Even though he was so busy and had such a big job, family always came first. And we knew it, my mom knew it, my boys knew it. And so that's, part of the reason that he's so dearly missed, because he had so much love for everyone in his family.
He was never judgmental. Even though he was a federal judge, you would never know by meeting him that he was. He was so non-pretentious, and he was just so humble. He just was like your average guy and never walked around that like he had power. And so he just never judged you in any situation. He always, tried to help you work through it. He never acted like he was better than anybody because he was a federal judge.
Lasting impacts that our dad has on me is integrity. He had so much integrity, and he really, if he said he was going to do something, he did it. If he couldn't do something, he owned up to it. If he made a mistake, he owned up to it. He admitted it. And he just treated everybody the same. And I think it's something that I look to on a daily basis. How can I channel some of my dad and some of his spirit and live a life full of integrity, and live a life where I'm treating everyone with the respect that they deserve, and the respect that I would want to be treated with as well.